not just emasculating, but what's the word? Objectifying of men, right? Like if you can pay bills, then you're a good man. If you can't pay bills, you're a bad man. I think it has to be more nuanced than that. That's almost like men saying, well, if you're not a size 8, then you're not attractive. Or if you're over 35, nobody wants you. You remember Kevin Samuels used to say stuff like that, and I thought that was kind of silly. I didn't agree with that at all. And so I think it's but then again, everything's a criteria, right? And here's the last point I'll make on this. I think black men have to be really thoughtful about this reality. The reality is two levels. One, if you are financially responsible or irresponsible, then you're going to get a negative reaction from the family just because people want to know they can trust you. They want to know that you're competent with the resources. So even if we only got 8 nickels to rub together, you have to account for those 8 nickels. You can't be like, well, I'm sorry, babe, I lost 6 of the nickels on my way home from the liquor store. She's not going to like that. But then the second tier of that would be that if you're able to generate more income, that can solve a lot of problems. Since so much divorce happens because of financial problems, you start arguing over money or whatever. Now here's the kicker on that too. This is where you become a black man. When you become a black man, you're in this interesting situation where somebody says, "Okay, I need you to have money for me to even try to build anything with you because you're supposed to be able to provide and all these other things." And black women are getting all the degrees and also, like with my wife, I know that there are places where she could get hired where I would never be hired. I just believe that. I think that there are spaces black women get accepted that black men don't. Um, so then what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Do you give up and get sad and say, gosh, white men won't hire me? Or do you find another pathway? This is why in the Black Business School, one thing I believe to the core of my soul is that every black boy should know how to start a business and become an investor because that helps him regain his pride instead of him feeling like he has to subjugate himself to another man in order for him to get what he needs for his family, because that's incredibly humiliating. And that's the root of a lot of these other problems, the alcoholism, the abuse, the other things that happen. He comes home and he wants to slap his wife because he's half drunk because he's so mad and frustrated about being treated like a little boy. Malcolm X used to talk about this, that they want to keep the black man as a little boy. And so I found that when I became an owner and an investor, it was easy for me to be a man. It would be much more difficult if I constantly had to succumb myself to some other man who did not respect me on a fundamental level. It would be very demoralizing, right? So that's my reality on that, and I hope you'll have that honest conversation with your sons, because you have to have the right balance. I'll give a real life example, then we'll go back to the slides. I remember when Damon Dash went on the Breakfast Club and did this interview where he was basically really, really saying like, yeah, you should quit your job, you should go start a business, and you should never call another man boss. It's like calling him your daddy. And I thought that was too much. Like Dame kind of takes things to the extreme.